Hey everyone. So this incident happened around Wednesday or Thursday. I can't really give you the exact date because my days are all blurred together. But I did speak to the supervisor or someone who can go in between. This is exactly what the superintendent told me. This person can get in the middle between parent and the people that they have an issue with. So I called up the superintendent, but I'm going straight ahead, but okay, so what happened was my daughter's teacher was out, and to be honest, it's not my business why the teacher's out. Okay, but I would like to say that there is an app that we use. And to be honest, I would like to know that the teacher is out. It's just, if I can send a message in 2 minutes to tell the teacher certain things, then of course I believe that the teacher should be able to send a message to us. She has done mass text messages to us, so I don't understand why she didn't even say anything. That being said, there is a para in the class. The para, who is, if you don't know what a para is, she helps the teacher. So if the para is not in, and the teacher knows, and the teacher is not going to be in, then definitely I really want to know what's going on. Because, and I will tell you later on in the story why I say that. So, both para and teacher were out. Okay? We found out later. So I'm standing there waiting for the teacher. The teacher comes out, looks so young, which is fine. He looks like a student, whatever. He's dressed up looking like a student, like the same student-like pants. He has his pants fairly low, not on his hips. You could see a slight boxer. And there is actually a belt around his butt. It's not like it's way past his butt, but you could see, like I said, you could see boxer. And the shirt that he's wearing is tucked into his boxers. Like, it was just weird to me, and it was cold. Honestly, I don't know how I saw it, but I saw it. He should be wearing a jacket that's, closed, but the jacket was open. A gust of wind blew it open, and then I saw it. It wasn't like I'm trying to see his butt. I'm just saying, like, it was there. It was right there in my face. Well, it wasn't in my face, but you know what I mean. So I saw it, and I just kept it moving for some reason. Like, in my heart, I wanted to take my daughter. Now, I try not to judge people on clothes, but this is a kindergarten class, so I was just like, this is not good. I don't care if you wear your pants a certain way outside of school, but this is a school environment. You get what I'm saying? Like, so anyways, as soon as they go in, I go to my husband. I'm like, because he was waiting. He was waiting right by the car. I'm like, listen, I don't feel comfortable with my daughter going into class with a teacher that I don't know, and then I explained to him what was going on, and he agreed. So we went into the school, in front of the school, and I realized that I didn't have my ID on me. So my husband had his ID. And I said, listen, I don't have my ID. I'm just going to go to the car. But before I did, we had, there was one woman online, one woman. Okay. So we went up to the security officer and we were just like, we need to ask questions about our daughter's teacher. We explained to her what was going on. She listened to us. She kind of gave us like this face like, I don't care. But then she was like, well, you're going to have to go up to the main office. She sat down and screamed, next. Again, one person. So my husband went on the back of the line. I took it upon myself because she was just like, go up to the main office. You got to go up to the main office. I had turned around and I was like, what do you want us to do? She was like, she gave us an attitude like, you have to go online. And okay, I get it. I've been there more times than I can count. So, but she didn't specifically state that she wanted us to go online. Would have been nice. After that, I was like, okay. She gave us attitude, but it's fine. It's fine. So I told my husband, I asked my husband, can you please open the door so I could go into the car because it's freaking cold. So he's like, okay, no problem. My husband is genuinely a nice guy. He tries to treat everybody the way he would want to be treated. So he's online and he was like the next person. The woman had like yelled next. There was two other people behind him. And she put out her hand. She was like, mm-mm. And she pointed to the other woman. Now, from what my husband told me, they looked really uncomfortable because of the situation. She was making them feel uncomfortable, that she didn't want him to go next. She wanted them to go next. Which would make me feel uncomfortable as well, because then I don't want that issue. I don't want that problem, So the girl reluctantly goes next, and then my husband stands there. Now he's still waiting, and he's still trying to wait patiently. She screams next again, and she points at the girl behind my husband. And then that's when it all like hit the fan and like I said, this is from what my husband is telling me. And I believe him because she's pretty rude. She is pretty rude. I've had run-ins with her. She's pretty rude. So he pretty much told her, yo, what the hell? Like, I was online. I don't understand why you're doing this. So it blew out. It blew out of proportion because, well, not really blew out of proportion, but like, I feel like what she did made him blow up. Because if it was you or me that was on the line and somebody was trying to push you out, you would be like, what the hell? Or I would be like, what the hell? So, that being said, there is a male security officer there that I had trouble once with, and never again. He was always polite after that. He was always nice after that. Like, and I didn't even have to call. I didn't even have to call like the superintendent's office. Didn't have to. It was just a 1, 2, 3 fix. Like, he was a nice guy. So he came over and he pretty much like diffused the situation. He moved her out of the way. He helped my husband, and then he was like, "Okay, no problem. Thank you." You know, like, my husband was really nice to him because he was really nice to him. My husband. So he went upstairs. He asked simple questions. He was like, "First of all, I want to know who's teaching my daughter." And the people could not give him a direct answer. He was like, "Okay, so where is her para?" And they were like, "Oh, well," and this is what pisses me off. They specifically, they were stating how the teacher has a meeting. Okay. It's a class for teachers. I don't know. I think it's a meeting or a class. So the teacher has a meeting, and if the teacher has this type of meeting class, then the para is out too. That's exactly what they said. I mean, not word for word, but if the teacher is out, then the para is out when the teacher is doing this class thing. So I was just like, I'm thinking to myself, why wouldn't the teacher say anything? Or why wouldn't the para say anything, you know? But like I said, they wouldn't give us direct answers. Like, it wouldn't be an answer that, you know, was a good answer. And I get it. It's none of our business why things are the way they are. I mean, to be quite honest, I feel like technically they should be, because that's my daughter's class, you know? But in the end, you know, if the teacher is in a meeting or in a class, then that's her business. But again, like I said, we could have been notified. It's not that hard. So come the time that I have to call up the superintendent, and it's not because of anybody else but the security guard that triggered my husband. So I called, and the superintendent was, well, it wasn't the superintendent, it was the security, oh my goodness, the secretary, oh my god, the secretary of the superintendent. So I spoke to her, and she goes, "You need to speak to," and I'm not going to give names out, but "you need to speak to," and I'm going to just call him Mr. X. So she goes, "You need to speak to Mr. X and tell him all your concerns." So I said, "Okay, cool, no problem." So I called Mr. X, and I told him that we had an issue with one of the security officers. I said security officer because, you know, I don't know if there's police officers. There's actually police officers in the school, and I don't know if these are security guards or security officers. So anyways, I spoke to him, and he was kind of, for some reason, like, I wasn't saying anything rude to him. Like I wasn't really saying anything rude. Um, but he was getting a little snippy with me. And every time I tried to say something, he would cut me off. He would just cut me off and then he would just talk over me. So, as the person that I am, if someone cut me off and just started talking over me, I would wait and I would just go, okay, 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 okay. Like I would okay them to death. You know what I mean? Because you cut me off, you didn't let me finish. So after he cut me off like twice, I gave him the full story because to be honest, like normally I like to give the story and then ask and then get the answer questions later. You know what I mean? Just to button it up. But he just likes to stop me every he liked to just cut me off. So that was just something that I didn't like. Whatever. Anyways, so come time to give my husband the phone, for some reason I knew what was going to happen because it seemed like this guy had a bullhead. You know what I mean? Like he was just ready to ram somebody. So that sounded really, really weird. Ram somebody. But you know what I mean. So I gave the phone to my husband. Now, my husband, before I say anything, my husband is not trying to discriminate. He is not trying to say anything mean. He was trying to say what he believed could have been the problem. Okay. And he wasn't trying to be rude. Okay. My husband tries to think the logical way. It could be this way, or it could be that way. Anyways, I don't want to get into it even more. So I want to talk about this. My husband, he was just like, okay. And he explained the situation. Now, this is where it gets hairy. My husband said that she doesn't really speak English fully. Like, it doesn't seem like she speaks English fully, which is pretty much true. There can be words that she could not understand because it sounds like it. I've spoken to her and she'll be like, what? And then I'll have to simplify it, which is not a bad thing, you know? I'm not saying it's a terrible thing. I just can't use certain words around her. So, whatever. I mean, like, she knows Spanish and she knows a little bit of English. And I feel like if you know two languages, that just makes you smarter than me. I mean, I don't know. But again, like I said, I mean, she doesn't know English as well as I do, or as well as my husband does. So anyways, that being said, like he goes, okay, so the reason why I feel like she did that was probably because there was a language barrier. That's exactly what he said. He said, I feel like there was just a language barrier. Maybe that could be it. He goes, listen, I'm not trying to get her fired. I just want her to be aware that things like that aren't necessary. There aren't, and they're not good. So the guy goes to him, and he said this once before. He said, she's only been with us for a couple of months. Okay, now listen to the wording, couple of months. All right? Then he said, she's only been here for a few months. Okay, you see the wording that he said the first time around, and then the second time around he said she's only for a, a few months. So, to me, it sounds like he's saying two totally different things. That she's only been with us for a couple of months, 2 months, and she's only been here, which what's here, for a few months. Just like my husband always says, the spoken word is very powerful. So when he said that, my husband goes, okay, what do you mean? She's only been with you for a couple of months, like at the job for a couple of months? Or she's, sorry, not a couple of months, a few months? Or she's been here in the United States for a few months? The guy completely lost it. He was just like, don't do that, sir. Don't do that. And then my husband goes, what am I doing? I'm asking you a question. What is it? Has she been with you a couple of months? Has she been with you a few months? Has she been with you a couple of months? Or has she been with you, in the States for a few months? I'm asking you a simple question. I'm not trying to be rude. So then the guy goes, Sir, on this phone call, be professional. Be professional. So then my husband goes, you're telling me one thing, and I'm asking you to clarify what you're trying to say. And he was like, don't backpedal what you said. And then my husband goes, I'm not trying to backpedal nothing. Now I'm simply asking you again the same question I asked you before. And then he asked it again. And then the guy goes and flips out again. So my husband goes, is this the way that you run your department? Is this the way that you run your department? And he was just like, I was a captain for blah, 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 blah. I'm not even going to say it's a police officer's district, like whatever. He goes, I was a captain for insert here. So Mr. X was just, I don't know what he was doing at this moment, but he was just telling my husband what he did before he was a supervisor for security guards over at a school. And to me, it's kind of like peacocking. Like, oh, this is what I did. You know, this is what I had accomplished. So then that sets my husband off. It sets my husband off. And then my husband says a vulgar word, and then he hangs up. So at this moment, now I have to call the superintendent again. It was just a mess. So I called them up, and then they told me that they would get in touch with the mediator, the person that is in between the parents and the people who the parents have a problem with. So it took okay, here's what happened. I hung up with the superintendent's secretary, and I waited. And I waited until the next day. And I called the superintendent again. And she was, okay, so I'm guessing that this is, on No, it could have been on Thursday too. Anyways, so I spoke to superintendent's secretary again. And she was like, "Oh, they didn't get in contact with you. I'm sorry. Let me send you over or patch you over to her secretary." So I spoke to the secretary and I gave her my phone number. I gave her my phone number. I gave her my husband's telephone number to complain about the security guard in the front and to also complain about Mr. X. So we waited a grand total of maybe 20 minutes after that, and then we spoke to her. I'd say, long story short, I got my point across because we were telling her everything that went on. I got my point across when she asked me, okay, because at that minute, she was saying how, like, we shouldn't have done what we did, because when my husband said that he cursed him out, she was like, "No, you shouldn't have done that." Yeah, he shouldn't have. And I turned around and I took the phone from my husband, because at that time, like, it was on speakerphone, and I had to make a point. I told her, I said, when we called Mr. X, my husband was already triggered. Okay, he was already an upset parent because he couldn't, one, get the answers that he was looking for, and on top of all that, the security guard kind of pissed him off. So his anger in that moment would have been something that the person that we're calling would have to diffuse. You get what I'm saying? That being said, the guy, Mr. X, should not have made it worse, okay? Because he made it worse than what it was when he got pissed off, okay? Also, Mr. X made it worse when he told my husband two things, in my opinion. This is in my opinion. One, to be professional. Okay, you don't need to tell an angry parent who just left their child with someone they don't even know to be professional. Okay, no. To be honest, if I had more days to take my daughter out of school, that would have been one of those days that I would have just taken her out of school. Two, he brought up his old job like it was relevant to the situation, like it would help the situation. None of what Mr. X said helped. So I told her this. I said, who should have been professional? The person who is not at their job, or the person who is doing their job and having to diffuse a situation or figure out what's going on? You know what I'm saying? When I'm at work, or when I was at work, because I used to work for retail a lot, but when I was at work, someone spit on me, someone threw cookies at me. Like, these are the things that I had to deal with on a daily, because I worked for a lot of places, but I worked for food, I worked for retail, I worked for, again, like I said, a lot of places. But being a person that is working with the people, I had to be professional. Okay, I couldn't lash out. And I explained that to her. When I got spit on, I didn't go and haul off and punch the person. I didn't do any back talk. I didn't say anything wrong. This is my job and I need to be professional. When I got when I got cookies thrown at me, I didn't throw them back. I just kept it professional. I said, "Okay, great. I'm just going to sweep them up now." Be professional at your job. Okay? Don't expect somebody else, the person in front of you, pretty much, that's not working, to be professional. They're going to be mad. What are you going to do? Respect me. Oh, I forgot to even say this. The security guard at the front desk at my school turned around and demanded my husband to respect her. That was insane. I was just like, what the heck? Like, seriously. I don't understand why she had to even yell that. But again, like I said, the male security guard came over. He was like cool with it. So like he diffused the situation. So I pretty much told the lady, I said, he's great. And she was just like, maybe he should do some training. I was like, yeah, that would be great. And she goes, no, I'm not kidding. Maybe he should. And I was like, yeah, I'm not kidding either. He definitely should. I don't know why she thought I was kidding. Maybe it was because of my excited like voice at the moment. But I wasn't kidding. I really wasn't. Honestly, if I feel like it shouldn't have happened, then I wouldn't have said anything. So I feel like I covered most of the bases and I tried to make it very, very short, but unfortunately, we're at 32 minutes. There was a whole lot more going on. I left some things out, but what are you going to do? I can't just put in whole, I think it was like 2 hours in a whole. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to say. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to put it in the comments section below. If I didn't make myself completely crystal clear, please feel free to question that. There's just one thing I will say right now. Again, I will not tell you names because obviously just I feel like it's an invasion of privacy. Like that's their privacy and I just feel like I don't even want to invade that privacy. But I will say this. I will explain things to you if you really need me to explain them. As always, it is lovely for you all to hear my story. And honestly, if you've gotten this far, thank you. Thank you very, very much for actually hearing my story. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to know more about the things that I talk about, which is random things, feel free to subscribe. Again, questions, comments, concerns, feel free to put them in the comments section below. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.